Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to RiverBend on this historic day for Buffalo and Western New York. I want to start with some acknowledgments. I want to acknowledge County Executive Mark Polenkars. Mayor Byron Brown. City Comptroller Mark Schroeder. Dr. Elaine Caballeros. Lyndon Rive, CEO of SolarCity. They don't even know you. Senator Tim Kennedy. Senator Mark Grisanti. Assemblyman Sean Ryan. Assemblymember Crystal Peoples-Stokes. Assemblyman John Soretto. Mayor Paul Deister. How about a special welcome for Governor Cuomo back in Buffalo? I don't know if you got a good look at the governor when he came in, but he looks good. You know, you don't seem to age when you see somebody every week. So if you come often, you stay young. If you stay away, you get old. Come often, stay young. Stay away, get old. Those are the choices. Folks, how's the new Buffalo doing? Let's see, thousands of new jobs, hundreds of new firms, our first population gain among young people in 35 years. Over $4 billion in private investment underway. Parents telling their kids, you gotta come back to Buffalo. National and international articles about the Buffalo turnaround story. Don't take my word for it. The Economist magazine. Things are changing for the second biggest city in New York State. The New York Times, once just a punchline, Buffalo fights back. The Boston Globe, Buffalo was brimming with energy. The Washington Post, in Buffalo, New York, a new vitality is giving the once gritty city wings. Toronto Star, shocked and awed by the rebirth of Buffalo. How does that sound? The governor's Buffalo billion is about the future. We've spent enough time looking backward. It's about next generation industries and next generation jobs in life sciences, information technology, and advanced manufacturing and clean energy. Why does advanced manufacturing work here in Buffalo and Western New York? We are a binational, multimodal location. We export over $8 billion of products a year, whether you use trains or planes or boats or trucks. Folks, we have you covered. Our proximity to almost 60% of the Canadian population and half the US population is one of our key advantages. Over 50,000 people employed in advanced manufacturing. We have the companies and the support services to make advanced manufacturing work. And we have 21 colleges and universities in this town, a steady supply of skilled labor. It doesn't matter whether you're talking about management, marketing, QC, HR, engineers, industrial technicians, welders, you name it. From certificate programs to PhDs, the research that we do in advanced materials, Buffalo is a great place for advanced manufacturing. New jobs, new investment, new industries, a new image, a new opportunity for the people of Buffalo, New York, and Western New York, right here at RiverBend, where people can get to work, where it's accessible for all people, regardless of your income. Right here on this site, which for so long was a symbol of our decay, we are turning it into, the governor is turning it into the definitive sign of our transformation and our resurgence. You can clap for that. We're making history. Governor, you're making history in Western New York. None of us here would have imagined, could have imagined, wouldn't have even had the courage to dream what we're experiencing in this community. I don't think any of us in this room can overstate it. So, I mean, it's a pleasure to be part of it. It's just an amazing experience, and I wouldn't know how to say it any other way. People are talking to their kids about coming back to Buffalo for the first time, and as long as I've lived here for 33 years. It's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, the fabulous, successful, wonderful, collaborative county executive, Mark Poloncarz.
Thank you, Howard. I don't think you got enough adjectives in there, though. Good morning. I want to welcome you all here to this new Buffalo, this new Erie County, on the shores of the Buffalo River. And I specifically want to acknowledge someone who's done a tremendous amount, starting more than a decade ago, to get people to think about the waterfront and what it meant to revitalize our outer harbor, our inner harbor in the Buffalo River, and that's our Congressman Brian Higgins. You know, when I saw the governor just back in the room, I said, can't you come here every day? Because truthfully, it is a great day every time you come here. I mean, the last time the governor was in town was for the Buffalo Bills, and what happened? The Bills won that day. We defeated the Miami Dolphins at the home opener. And when you came here last year with the announcement for RiverBend, you said that big things were in order. And we knew that big things were in order, but today's announcement demonstrates that they really are. Folks, this is a game changer. We are seeing the transformation of this region happen before our very eyes, whether it's the inner harbor, the outer harbor, the Buffalo River, the new investments at the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus, to the high-tech green jobs that are being brought here through Startup New York, UB, on the site of the old Republic Steel. I remember what it was like to drive down South Park Avenue and see Republic Steel. I remember what it was like to drive down Route 5 and see Bethlehem Steel. As most of you know, my dad worked at Bethlehem Steel. And I can't think of anything better for our community to take these old brownfields, reclaim them for the new technology of today, the green technology of today, with the thousands of jobs that come along with it. And that's something worth clapping for. Now, Governor, the hard work of each and every one of us, especially you, through your investment in this community, is paying off, and we just don't have to see it with our eyes. Being the former county controller, I love statistics, and the statistics are where the true numbers are. In January of 2012, the unemployment rate in Erie County was 8.9%. As of the last reported figures in July of this year, it's 6.3%. And you know, percentages may sound great, but they don't mean anything unless people are getting new jobs. And during that time period, there are 18,000 more people employed in Erie County than there were as of January of 2012. as Howard noted, for many decades, the population in Erie County dropped. In fact, between 2000 and 2010, the population in Erie County dropped by 30,000. And the Census Bureau estimated that it was going to drop by approximately another 40,000. But the numbers that we have on the initial estimates from the Census Bureau don't lie. In just the last 4 years alone, every year the population is increased in Erie County. That's the first time that has done that since the 1960s. And that is a wonderful thing. And the excitement continues just with the announcement recently that Terry and Kim Pagula are buying the Buffalo Bills. They will continue to be the Buffalo Bills. They will stay in Buffalo. I'm sorry, Toronto, they are our Buffalo Bills. And one of the reasons that happened, because this governor understood the value of the Buffalo Bills to our team, and he worked tirelessly with his team and I to keep the Bills in here through the negotiation of a 10-year lease that we knew was necessary to get us through what would in all likelihood be the passing of Mr. Wilson. And Governor, that hard work paid off because it did work, and we now know the Bills are going to be here forever. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, this all adds up to a new belief in our city and our region that after years of difficult economic conditions, Buffalo, Erie County, and Western New York are back. As Howard said, people are moving here. Our young people are staying here. New housing is being built. Cranes are all over the sky of Erie County and the city of Buffalo. Now, while there's always more to do, and we must ensure that we do not leave people behind as we move forward with this new Buffalo, I think it's fair to say it truly is a new Buffalo. It is a new Erie County, something that I don't think each and every one of us thought we would see in our lifetimes. But just in a few short years, we are the success story that's going around this country. And it's my pleasure at this time to introduce our great mayor of this new Buffalo, the leader in our city who's leading us forward, Mayor Byron Brown.
Thank you very much, County Executive Mark Polenkars, and thank you for being such a great partner in government and helping us to shape the new Buffalo and the new Erie County. As Howard Zemsky said, this is a historic day in the city of Buffalo. We are at the site of what was once Republic Steel, where thousands of people were once employed in our community. Now, with the groundbreaking of SolarCity, we will see thousands of people employed at this site and other places in Buffalo, again, thanks to Governor Andrew Cuomo. And you know, Howard, you are right. When the governor walked in, I was marveling to myself at how good the governor looked. I said, how is it possible? It looks like the governor is getting younger. And folks, that's what happens to you when you come to Buffalo every single week. You know, there's a saying out there that we have to stop meeting like this. But Governor, for what coming to Buffalo is doing for you, we have to meet like this every single week. Let's give our governor another round of applause. You know, there is a great collaboration now between every level of government, between our private sector, between our unions, and that partnership is helping to fuel the transformation that we're seeing in the city of Buffalo. I can think back to 2008 when I led the effort for the city of Buffalo to purchase this site through the Buffalo Urban Development Corporation. And I want to just recognize the staff and board members of the Buffalo Urban Development who are here and ask them to stand up and be recognized. When we purchased this site back in 2008, we knew that Buffalo did not have enough shovel-ready land for development of large-scale projects like this. We had a vision, we had a hope, we had a dream that we would be here one day where a major manufacturer, where maybe several major manufacturers would come into this site and create hundreds, if not thousands, of jobs for our community. We had faith and belief and confidence that we would be able to partner with a leader like Governor Andrew Cuomo. And through the governor's efforts and the efforts of his staff, this day that we dreamed about has become a reality. So thank you so much, Governor. You know, the governor likes to say that momentum builds momentum, and progress ushers in more progress. This is a great day of progress for this community. As you heard the county executive say, since 2012, we have seen over $4.5 billion of investment in the city of Buffalo, projected to create over 12,000 new jobs in the next 3 years. It is because we do have a collaborative leader like Governor Andrew Cuomo, who has placed his faith and his treasure in this community, who has said, Buffalo, believe in yourself because you're a great community. And if we all work together, there's nothing that can't be accomplished in the city of Buffalo. I also want to recognize the CEO and co-founder of SolarCity, Mr. Lyndon Rive, for his faith and confidence in this community. Back behind the curtain, I was talking to Mr. Rive, and he said, you know, Mayor, I want you to know this is going to happen very quickly. We're not going to take our time to build out this site and bring these jobs to Buffalo. And I'm not going to steal his thunder, but he said the job number that is coming is more than you expected. So this is a great day. This is a day of significant progress. The Buffalo Billion is again helping to fuel what's happening at this site, as it is so many places throughout Buffalo and Western New York. And for that, again, Governor, I say thank you very much, and keep coming back again and again and again. Now, it is my great pleasure to introduce someone who is a scientist. And I see that there are a lot of young people in the room, and sometimes when you hear science, it's a little intimidating. But this person I'm going to introduce makes science cool, makes science hip, makes science fun. It is my pleasure to introduce the most entrepreneurial, successful, dynamic scientist in the entire state of New York, Dr. Elaine Calieros.
Why am I the only one to use this step? Good afternoon, Buffalo. Come on. Good afternoon, Buffalo. You know, Lyndon, when I said it's sunny the entire year round in Buffalo, I wasn't lying. Look, it's the best place to put your company. My, how things can change in just 1 year's time. When the governor got together to announce RiverBend last November, got us together, we were talking about the Bills being on a winning streak. And next Sunday, when the Bills take on the Texans in Houston, they're going to do something that companies, big and small, have been doing since Andrew Cuomo became governor. They're going to spend a little time in Texas, then hop on a plane to their permanent home in New York. You know, I can resist anything but temptation, so I'm going to point out that even the governor of Texas now spends more time in New York than he does in Texas. The governor's visionary, innovation-driven economic development strategy is what's drawing these global companies across the state, especially here in Western New York. The state is partnering with academia and business to drive innovation and create high-tech jobs across upstate. It's the simple and effective model of the state investing in and owning the facility and equipment, and businesses from around the globe coming in to partner with the top talent at universities to innovate and create jobs in New York. It started 25 years ago when Governor Mario Cuomo invested $10 million to build the first generation computer chips at what is now known as the SUNY College of Nanoscale Science and Engineering. I was 6 years old then, and I had the pleasure of being part of that. That investment today has delivered returns that would make the best Wall Street guru envious. In New York's capital region, we've seen nearly $30 billion in investments from public and private sources, 3,500 jobs on site at SUNY CNSC, supported by more than 15,000 across the state, including in Buffalo. Jobs that pay on average $91,000 per job. Unemployment in the capital region is far below the national average. And the capital region technology sector now employs 43,000 jobs, could become the #1 employer in the capital region within the next 5 years. And that's thanks to the Mario Cuomo, Andrew Cuomo Circle of Life economic development. Please. Look, something else is also happening in New York that's not happening anywhere else. It's the insourcing of jobs from China, Taiwan, Korea, Japan, France, Germany. While other states are losing jobs to those countries, New York is getting the insourcing of those jobs, just to name a few of the countries. Just this August alone, in August, the state economy added 137,000 jobs, including 5,300 private jobs in the capital region alone. And now it's taken hold here in Buffalo with nanotechnology and green energy, bioinformatics, innovation, and manufacturing. And today we're excited to make the next big announcement here in Buffalo. SolarCity, the largest solar installer in the United States, is growing. And they're going to do their manufacturing right here in Buffalo. So I'm thrilled on behalf of Governor Cuomo and the state of New York to announce that SolarCity, in partnership with SUNY CNSC, will build the largest solar panel manufacturing facility in the Western Hemisphere, right here at RiverBend. No, I didn't misspeak. It is actually going to be the largest solar manufacturing facility in the Western Hemisphere. Give the governor another round of applause, please. And now we're going to take a look at the future with this video. case you're wondering why the video was in the middle of my remarks, because everybody expected I'm going to be very boring, so the video tried to entertain you. Let's go over the numbers one more time. The jobs, last November, we were talking about 850 permanent jobs. Now this project will generate nearly 5,000 good-paying, high-tech jobs across upstate. With at least 3,000 of them right here in Buffalo. Private spending, it has grown from 1.5 billion when the governor announced it last time to 5 billion in spending by SolarCity. And the size of the facility went from about 250,000 square feet to over 1.2 million, the largest in the Western Hemisphere. Not China, not Europe, in Western New York. And that I can only think of one man, one leader who had the vision and leadership to make this happen. Our great governor, Andrew Cuomo. Please join me. And now it's my pleasure to introduce the guy who's going to be spending $5 billion in Buffalo. Lyndon Drive, the founder, CEO, and president of SolarCity.
Yeah, very exciting day today. This is a big deal for us, in case you guys are wondering. In deciding to move manufacturing to the US, this was a big decision. When looking at the different states, it was really important to choose a state where the leadership had a strong vision and understand the importance of sustainable energy. What Governor Cuomo is doing and his team in the state of New York, we would not be here if it was not for that. Thank you, Governor, for all your work there. You're really setting up early on when it was mentioned, momentum creates momentum. That's why we are here, because of all the activities that are happening years before this, which brought us to Buffalo. We're excited about Buffalo. So, just talking about the actual factory. So, as was mentioned earlier, this is going to be the biggest factory in the Western Hemisphere. It's 3 times larger than any other factory of its type in the US. Not only is it going to be a big factory, our goal is to create the most efficient and cheapest module in the world. So the only way you can get to grid parity is by bringing economies of scale into the manufacturing and leveraging technology to create a more efficient module, but cheaper in delivering electricity. And that's what we're going to do at this factory. Our goal is to get it up and running as soon as possible, get the jobs in this community up and running as soon as possible. The goal is early 2016, and look forward to bringing it up. Now, one other key thing about this area is that because of programs that have been put in place, like Startup New York and Sunny Nanotech, it's going to make it easier for us to hire people. This is real key, because hiring talented people in this space is always very important, especially when you're building out a large factory. Now, there's a lot of work that already has gone into getting us to this point. There's a lot of people involved in getting us to this point. We're going to have to now actually build the factory and get it to the next point. And I want to thank Dr. Calleros and his team for all the hard work you've done there. Now, let me introduce the next speaker, Governor Cuomo. Thank you for your vision. It is rare to find somebody as inspirational as you, as good a leader as you, and the changes you're making in the state, and specifically in Buffalo. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Wow, wow, wow. What a day, huh? First, to Mr. Rive, let's give him a big New York welcome. Welcome to Western New York. We are excited about what you're doing. It is a great thing for the planet. It's a great thing for the environment. It's a great thing for business, and it is great that you are doing it here. So welcome, welcome, welcome. To Dr. Elaine Calleros, who really is a New York gem. Funny story about Dr. Calleros. My father, anybody know who my father was? You remember? My father's governor 1982 to 1994, and my father actually starts the first program that attracts Dr. Calleros to SUNY Albany, the first high-tech innovation fund. And that's when Dr. Calleros first came, as he said he was 6 years old. And he joined the SUNY staff because of that program that my father started. Not that my father and I are competitive in any way, because we're not. But my father then believes anything that is a derivative of what Dr. Calleros did inures to his benefit and is not really my accomplishment. So just to be clear, let's give Mario Cuomo a big round of applause today. And thank you. But Dr. Calleros is, he's truly brilliant. He's truly a genius. What he's done in the Capital District region with nanotechnology, where the Capital District region is now the international capital, international center of nanotechnology. And over the past few years, he's been branching out all across upstate New York. This is his brainchild. We are so, so blessed to have him in the state of New York. Let's give him another round of applause, please. Howard Zemsky, he was kind of funny today, wasn't he? Give him a round of applause for attempt at humor. Okay, maybe he's not that funny, but he tries very hard to be funny, you should know, and we give him an A for an effort. But what he doesn't have as a sense of humor, he makes up for in a sense of commitment to Western New York and Buffalo and business acumen, and he has been the business driver of this entire effort, and he's killed himself doing it. Let's give him a round of applause, Howard Zemsky. And then the dynamic duo that when they write the book, and they write the book on the new Buffalo, it will say that you had a dynamic partnership between a great young mayor and a great young county executive who brought this county together in a way it hasn't been together, working together in modern political history. And I'm just blessed to be able to have partners and friends like Byron Brown and Mark Poloncarz. Let's give them a round of applause. Congressman Higgins, who's been talking about the waterfront and pushing waterfront redevelopment for decades. He's right. Pleasure to be with you, Congressman. Give him a round of applause. Your Western New York delegation, Assembly and Senate, they work together like no other team works together in the state. We're not here today. There is no Buffalo Billion without them. Let's give them a round of applause. Special round of applause to Senator Kennedy. It's his district. Pleasure. Thank you to be with you. And Lou Simonelli, who's going to build it all on time and ahead of schedule. Lou Simonelli. You know, the mayor's right. I believe in creating energy in a situation, and then the energy takes over. And what Buffalo has been about, and what we've been working so hard to do for the past 4 years, is change the energy of Buffalo. Change the energy, change the dynamic, change the mindset, change the expectations, change the orientation. I used to say 4 years ago, I don't want to hear about yesterday anymore. All the stories in Buffalo were about yesterday and what we used to be and who we used to be. And let me talk to you about the 50s and let me talk to you about the 60s. And I said, we have to change our mentality. That's nice who we were. What's more important is who we are going to be. And it's not about Buffalo's past, it's about Buffalo's future. But Buffalo had been down for so long, we had to get that energy moving. And we had to get that change going. And that's what we did piece by piece, and each piece built on the other piece, and there was a positive synergy that developed. And Harborside, and the Inner Harbor, and the Outer Harbor, and the medical campus, and then Niagara Falls, and Wonder Falls, and one thing starts to build into the other. Terry Pagula pays $1.4 billion for the Buffalo Bills. Why? He says he likes football. Nobody likes football that much. Nobody. Terry Pagula is betting on Buffalo. Terry Pagula believes in Buffalo. That's what the $1.4 billion is all about. And this is a perfect example of it. We announced a project on RiverBend where we're helping the company Solivo come to this site. 850 jobs. That's what we had just announced last year. Before that even happens, Solivo gets purchased by SolarCity. And now the question is going to be, what is SolarCity going to do, and where is SolarCity going to go? And we're here today saying, rather than going anywhere else, Mr. Reeve could have gone anywhere else. That accent is not a South Buffalo accent. So there are other places he could have been. But Mr. Reeve said, I'm going to build SolarCity, my vision, my baby, my future, right here in Buffalo, because he believes in Buffalo. You know, the Buffalo Billion, we talk about the Buffalo Billion. The Buffalo Billion is not what made this happen. You made this happen. The Buffalo Billion was just a shout to get the attention of Buffalo. The Buffalo Billion was just an excuse to bring people together and to get people working together and to form a collaborative and form a vision and form a direction. That's what the Buffalo Billion is all about. We didn't even spend $1 billion because it wasn't really about that. It was about looking forward and bringing this leadership together. The Buffalo Billion was getting Howard Zemsky together with Elaine Calleros, together with Byron Brown and Mark Polencars and Brian Higgins, and this delegation, and getting the businessmen at the table, and getting Lou Simonelli and Carl Montesano, and putting them at the table with Mark Hamister and Mayor Deister and saying, guys, we're all in this together. We have every asset imaginable. You listen to Zemsky's sales pitch. Whatever you could want, you have here in Buffalo. You have the workforce, you have the schools, you have the transportation, you're on a binational border. Whatever you need, you have in Buffalo. We just needed that spark. And if there was a problem Buffalo had, it was that it had been abandoned by the state of New York. It was abandoned by the state of New York. Mark Polencars called it a couple of days ago, benign neglect from the state. It was worse than that. It was an abandonment by the state of New York. Why? Well, the state government wasn't working that well to begin with. It was dysfunctional on its own, but it had an attitude that upstate New York is just about yesterday. And the state government never really engaged. I spent 8 years in Washington, Department of Housing and Urban Development, doing economic development. Every other state would come in with their cities, and they would present a state-city plan with the business community. And everyone had a partnership and everyone had a vision. You know the only state that never came to Washington for an investment of economic development money? It was the state of New York. We were nowhere. And we left Buffalo on its own. And it was hard to make this kind of turnaround on your own. It was hard to do it without the state. So the Buffalo Billion was our way of saying, we understand that you were abandoned. We understand it was been a tough slog. And we understand the state wasn't at the table, but we're going to be back, and we're going to be back bigger and stronger and better than ever. That's what the Buffalo Billion was all about. And people don't get it. Kathy Hochul and I were talking the other day. Give Kathy Hochul a big round of applause. She's going to be a great lieutenant governor. And Kathy said, you know, our opponents, political opponents, said they would stop the Buffalo Billion if they were elected. And she said, how could they say that? Because they really don't get it. They really don't get the synergy between the state and upstate New York, and they don't get the potential of upstate New York and what upstate New York can be and should be. I am so excited about staying governor of New York and being here for another 4 years because, my friends, we are just starting. This has only been 4 years. This is a blink of an eye. You ain't seen nothing yet. We just started to get that generator turning. Buffalo's going to be back. It's going to be bigger and better than it ever was before. And then we're going to take that Buffalo recipe. We're going to take this formula, and I'm going to take this formula to Rochester and Syracuse and Utica and Albany and all those other cities that have been suffering for too long. And we're going to replicate the miracle that you did here in Buffalo. And the turnaround of Buffalo is actually going to generate the turnaround of upstate New York. And it's going to be your vision and your energy that made it possible. And you should be proud of that. This is the biggest accomplishment to date, bigger than anything we could have imagined. And as you have heard from the other speakers, it's the perfect metaphor. The City of Lights, the fundamental strength was the available hydropower, cheap power. That's what fueled Buffalo in the beginning. And that hydropower now, that renewable energy now, will fuel the renewable energy industry for the future. Just look at the beautiful poetic justice in the hydroelectric power building the solar panels that are a future for this country's environment and a future for this international environmental crisis that we face. And that it should happen on the RiverBend site just brings it all home. RiverBend was a symbol of what was, and this is a symbol of what will be. RiverBend was yesterday, and this is about tomorrow. RiverBend was what made us great in the first place, and this facility is about what's going to make us great in the future. You did it. I believed in Buffalo. I believe in Buffalo even more. Upstate New York is proud of you. The entire state is proud of you. God bless the people of Buffalo. Thank you, and God bless you.
Folks, thanks for joining us here today. Let's go break some RiverBend ground.